everything else. I'm an only child. My mother had some health problems after I was born, so she couldn't have any more kids, and so it left me stuck, stranded as an only child. Luckily, big family with lots of cousins and friends, and so I always had plenty of folks to hang out with and get in trouble with and mischief and stuff with. So luckily, Mom could just send them home though when it got too rough. But so today, I can think 2018 Hurricane Michael came through. That was my last official crop. I had one of the best crops that I had ever produced. Cotton, they estimated 1,500 pound cotton and 2.5 ton peanuts across the board. It was one of those years everything was going just right. So we just kept putting a little more in and a little more in. And then Hurricane Michael came through and just blew it all away. And then many of us can relate to that. And I just told Dad, he said, well, I'm getting old and I'm getting worn out, the equipment's getting worn out. And I said, well, let's just push this row crop to the side and let's just focus on cattle. I want to grow my registered herd. I don't want to grow the commercial herd. I want to plant more grass, do more rotational grazing, infrastructure and water. And so we kind of went that direction, and it's worked out pretty good. That's my passion, that's my drive. And so my wife and I, we got married in 2006, and the registered deal kind of started us wanting to be a part, do something different than my parents. And so we said, we're going to get some registered cattle, and we think we want to go to Red Angus. And at that particular point in time, you couldn't find any Red Angus cattle in the southeast to speak of. And so we traveled west to R.A. Brown Ranch in Throckmorton, Texas. I had been going out there buying bulls, bringing back, turning my commercial herd, our Red Angus influence, going from a bull of the month club. When Granddad and Dad had the herd, we had Brahman, we had Limousine, we had Charolais, Spotted Simmental, you name it, Hereford, just whatever was popular, whatever was a good deal, whatever the neighbor had for sale, that's kind of what we had. And I wanted the uniform and get the herd where I could market truckloads of calves and sell them. I wanted to kind of, the college aspect of it, retain ownership. I wanted to see how they would grade and yield. And I wanted to push the envelope to make us more profitable and not just be able to load them up and take them to the sale barn. So through all of that, the transition, we continued to move toward the Red Angus on the commercial side. That worked very well. Transitioned over, added the seed stock side of it. Started with 9 bred cows and started a very intensive embryo transfer program using our commercial cows as the recipients to surrogate mothers, and growing up to where we are today, still running commercial cows and registered cattle. Through our relationship with R.A. Brown Ranch, we became what they call a cooperator. So we've been sending bulls to Texas and selling those coming 2-year-old bulls with the R.A. Brown Ranch family, Kelly and Donald Brown. They're 2 boys now, since 2008. And that kind of has been that was a launch pad for us, because I didn't come from a seed stock background. I had been around it all my life. We'd always used registered bulls, but from the school aspect of it and just the mentoring aspect of it, Donald Brown kind of took us under his wing as a young married couple, and as they say, showed us the ropes. So we've been fortunate enough to market bulls out there, which is always a good market for bulls in that part of the world, in kind of that north central Texas area. And collectively, the second Wednesday of October, we'll sell somewhere around 600 bulls. And that'll be Black Angus, Red Angus, and his hybrid Black Reds, and then some Sem-Angus bulls. So it's kind of a collection point that they have their home-raised cattle, then they have their cooperator cattle, and we've been a part of that. We'll still continue to be a part of that. Last year, we took a leap of faith, and we had our first production sale here. We knew what went into a sale, but we really didn't know what went into a sale. And so we gathered here the first Saturday in November last year. We had this shop full of folks, and we had TV set up and an auction block right there, and cattle were pinned down the hill where y'all turned around at, and I had folks running with little trolley cars, running folks back and forth, thinking this is probably going to be more than I really wanted to bite off. But it worked out, and everybody was very complimentary about it. We had the cattle laid out, had maps for everybody to find what they were looking for. And then we all gathered here and had a really nice brisket lunch. And as they say, the rest is history. So we're going to do for round 2, November the 9th. And we're already starting that process. I got guys coming in to help clip and torch cattle, which there won't be much torching, but cleaning them up, getting them ready for pictures this weekend for a sale in November. And that's the thing that I always had to get in my mind. You have to start so far ahead. And we've already got those sale cattle picked out. Now we got to get them in sale condition. We just weaned big springborn calves off some of the cows. And we'll see some of that hopefully here in just a moment. But feel free to stop me in the middle of all this. This is very informal. I'm going to run through some stuff on the slide, show, and then we'll get back on the bus. I've got some bulls up here that y'all passed by. They were probably laying in the shade under those trees when you came by. So those bulls are listed on that piece of paper. The reason I wanted you to have that. And I apologize, their ear tags have started fading. We've got EID buttons and tattoos. So we use 2 forms of permanent identification. So if they lose that dangle tag, we can read the tattoo, and we have that electronic tag in their ear. We can read it as well. So this weekend, they're going to get their new tags, their sale tags. But if you see something you like, something you're interested in, we'll try to figure out what number it is. So we've got the EPDs and the percentile ranks. And so those are non-sire parent bulls. They're virgin bulls. They're going to be coming 2-year-olds. They'll be full 2-year-old in January, February. But the percentile rank is where they rank in the Red Angus breed for non-parent bulls. And then on the bottom, the dark line is breed average, Red Angus breed average. So you can kind of see, we've got ours average, so you can kind of see how our bulls rank compared to the breed itself in a lot of those traits. But, you know, this is a family operation. I've got one hired gentleman, and he's in the hayfield. And actually today we started a new intern from Virginia, and he'll be here through December. He spent his summer in Iowa at a farming operation. He's from Virginia, but he's going to Kansas State University. So we were proud to have Zach come in and be with us. He's experienced with equipment and handling cattle, so he'll be a big asset for us this fall as we start getting ready for sale time and pictures and videos and such as that. So y'all can read it, and I'll read it. So, you know, everybody needs a mission statement. And so we believe that none of this could be possible without the good Lord above and what He's allowed us to do and being a part of this, the stewards of the land and the cattle. So this is our mission statement. It says, we strive to raise high-performance cattle that we efficiently produce a nutritious and delicious end product for the consumer, as well as reproduce another generation that has genetically exceeds the one before, while committing ourselves to being stewards of God's creation. You know, what are we here for? I mean, we're here to feed the world. We're here to feed God's people, to take care of the land. None of this belongs to us. We know we're just here for a very short time. And I feel, you know, like for me, to do the very best, we always want to leave it better than we found it. So I want to leave it better than Dad left it for my 2 boys if they decide to come back and be a part of this operation. So some of the things that we really focus and key in on, top 5 cow herd quality components. So number 1 is genetics, breed up, and we want every subsequent generation to be better than the last. Health, nutrition, fertility, selection, storing systems, growth and quality, and that's supposed to be growth and quality and herd. So then we go herd quality and growth. The focus areas, artificial insemination and embryo transfer, and we also use in vitro fertilization, which is IVF, embryo transfer as well. Then the heifer development component, bull development, and then we also have a freezer beef side that we utilize to add value to those bottom end calves maybe don't fit a load. Maybe it's a bull we had to castrate. Maybe it's a heifer that came in as a free martin. Those are ways that we can add to the bottom line and not just load them up and take them to the sale barn. So we're very data driven. I'm not a very numbers oriented person, but I've had to learn to be numbers oriented, figuring out, because all I ever wanted to do was just raise cows and raise grass and farm. But as I got into this seed stock side of things, and I know some of y'all may be seed stock producers yourself, you've been to some other operations over your farming and ranching careers, we can't take enough data. We can't take enough shoot side observations, because when I want to try to sell you a bull or a heifer or a cow, I want to give you every ounce of information that I possibly can so you can make the best decision for what animal is going to fit your operation and get you to the next level of things that you want to do. From birth weight, we started calving our fall heifers out Saturday. So I think we're up to 5 now. We'll have a few earlies, and then the AIs they're all AIs right now, and they'll come right on down the line. So, looking at calving intervals, at the end of every calving season, we go back and we chart and we graph, look at that bell curve, how the heifers calved out, AI conception, first service, second service. We're always striving to get more AI pregnancies. We realize that's where the best genetics are, is in those AI sired calves. We DNA test everything, take weaning weights, yearling weights. We take yearling ultrasound, shoot side carcass, the ribeye area, intermuscular fat, rump fat. All that goes into the breed association, unlike any other breed association. We also take foot scores, claw and angle on every animal at yearling. So we follow the Breed Improvement Federation guidelines. So we score the worst of the 4 feet for claw angle, and like the heel set. So we turn that data in. And we also keep it for our own records. And that helps us because we're always wanting to improve foot quality and udder quality. So, the phenotype scores, we're always scoring those phenotypes when they come out to shoot. On the cows, we take body condition scores and turn those in at weaning time. We score them on docility. One of the key attributes and finer points of Red Angus cattle is they're very easy tempered cattle, very easy. My kids, since they were little, my wife, were all hands-on, and we never have any trouble with docilities, anything to do with an ill-mannered cow, and if we do, she doesn't stay around very long. Scrotal scores, doing the breed of soundness exams, all our heifers, we do repro-tract scores and pelvic measurements, not only on our registered stock, but on our commercial heifers as well. Some of the other things that we talk about are EPDs, the expected progeny differences, doing the genetic testing, a third-party evaluation. So we use indexes, so we use dollar profit. Dollar profit, you may have seen about dollar profit as an index, but it allows you to compare bulls together. So one may be a $10,000 profit, one may be a $20,000 profit. We all know how to count and add money, so 10,000 versus 20,000, which one do you think is going to be a better bull? $20,000 profit bull. That's just another tool. So how we come up with that is that index ranks those bulls. So over the course, we figure a bull's got, on average, 5 productive years, 5 calf crops, figuring how many calves that bull's going to sire, what those calves are going to be worth. So the $20,000 bull is going to make you $10,000 more dollars versus the $10,000 bull. We're in about our 5th year, so it is taking into consideration everything that the Breed Association provides: weaning weight, yearling weight, earth weight, cavity, marbling score, ribeye area. All that stuff goes into that dollar profit evaluation. So when we mate, and we utilize all this information, we hand mate every cow on this place. Every heifer is bred to, we may use 6, 7, 8, 10 different bulls. We're going to use a bull that complements that heifer or that cow the best. Talk a little bit about our relationship with R.A. Brown Ranch. So these are some of the places that we have sold cattle in the past, whether it be commercial or registered. Spring and fall sales in Texas at R.A. Brown, selling truckload lots with superior livestock. That would be our fall-born steers that we just shipped here a month ago. We're a part of the Southeastern Red Angus Association. They have a spring sale called the Grass Times Auction in Coleman, Alabama every year. I'm also on that board of directors. I also sit on the National Red Angus Board of Directors, finishing up my second term with that organization. We sold cattle in West Virginia with some friends of ours at Cedar Hill. We've always done private treaty sales off the farm here. And then, like I said, we're going to have our second annual production sale November the 9th. And then local beef, most of our local beef is sold word of mouth within the local area. We tried the internet deal and it just was a little more than we wanted to get into with all the other things we've got going on. So I've got some business cards. That's my phone number and email address, and I'll share that with you a little bit later. If you're into social media, we're all over social media. The gentleman a lot. The other hat I put on day to day is I work at Select Sires, Premier Select Sires, in artificial insemination industry. Don't I recognize you? No? You look just like a fellow with that one-arm beast over there. So I travel around, I breed cattle for the public, I do whole herd consulting, large herds, small herds, so I travel the Southeast and help the local reps that may be filling your tanks that you're buying supplies and semen from. And so as I travel around, I get to see a lot of cattle, get on a lot of operations. So I've been to a lot of back places, no-name towns and communities, just like Hellberg. You got to either be lost, or you got to be coming here for a reason. And so, you know, to have a couple hundred people show up here to a cow sale, I thought that was pretty tremendous. And I was just thanking the good Lord above. And I had DV auction set up, because I said, everybody, it's going to be me and the auctioneer, my wife, family, and friends. We're going to be sitting here watching the sale. Everybody else is going to be on their phone or their iPad or their computer watching it on DV auction. I had very little activity on DV auction. Most everything that sold, I'd say 80% or better, sold in person. Folks showed up, had trailers, they bought, they loaded. I woke up Sunday morning and I just had a handful of cattle to have to deal with. It took me 2 months to get a bred heifer to Pennsylvania of all places. Had some cattle going to Mississippi, North Florida, lots of cattle went into Georgia, and then all over Alabama, Arkansas, and Missouri. A handful there, but you know, we were just mighty blessed and fortunate to have the outpouring of support. And now everybody said that was the first one the hardest one. Then you got to follow up with the second. So there may have been some good faith and people just showing up to support you, get your first one under your belt, and now you're on your own. So we'll see. But you know, one of the things we strive to do is focus on the animals. It's a people business, it's a relationship business, y'all all understand that. It's a family business. Everything we do, we have to think about it and be strategic about it. I mean, because we're faced with the same things y'all are faced with. Fertilizer prices and fuel prices and batteries, repairs, maintenance. I mean, y'all look around here, I don't have any much new equipment. I'm using old wore out farming tractors and stuff, and we try to update as we can. We cover a lot of ground. I partner with some neighbors, they've got pivots, so I cut all their hay for them. We split it on halves. That ensures me that at least I have some hay to carry me into the winter, whether we're in a drought situation or not. We don't have silage, but we do tube wrap, millet and oats, triticale, things like that. Give us a ration base. We do run a vertical mixer. We develop everything on a forage-based ration. We use very little, if no corn at all, in any of our rations. We feel like we've got time on our bulls because we're selling those age advantage older bulls. So we're not having to sell a big fat yearling bull and push them. We all know it doesn't matter what breed we're talking about. Foot quality, structure, all those issues, and the genetics that we have today are not the genetics that my grandfather was messing with in the 70s and 80s, and what my dad was messing with in the 80s and 90s up into the 2000s. Genetics are moving so fast. Talked about embryo transfer and being able to take in vitro, taking a heifer, a virgin heifer, and collecting those oocytes and doing that and fertilizing it. So I may have 10 calves on the ground out of her before she's even had her own first natural calf. That's pushing the envelope. There are people that do that. We've sampled it. We've played with it. But most of what we do is we're flushing with tried and true cows that's raised multiple calves. So we know what we got. We know what kind of cow she is. But we're also sampling new bulls. This whole seat stock thing, you can't sit still. If you sit still and take a deep breath, you're behind already. You got to keep going. You got to keep trying. Everything's got to keep going and getting better and better. And we feel like, not only in the red Angus industry, but because of my select sires roles and responsibilities, I deal with all breeds of cattle. And I see it across all breeds of cattle. The ones that make it and that do a good job, it all comes back to customer service, standing behind your product, good business principles. Whether you're selling cattle or cars or watermelons or whatever, feed, fertilizer, we deal with people we like to deal with, and we feel like we're treated fairly. We're getting an honest story. We're getting what we deserve for what we're paying for it. And so this is all common sense to us. But I think that's the thing that you got to do. Make it right. I've had some cows we sold last year. One slipped a calf. I said, "You want to keep her, or you want to pick her up?" He said, "Well, I really don't want to feed her. She's not going to raise a calf." I said, "Get her in the pen. I'll be there in 2 days." I went and picked that. I drove 2 hours, picked that cow up, gave the man his money back. I gave him a choice. What do you want? You want to sell credit? You want your money back? What you want? And he said, "Well, just refund the money. I'll come back." He said, "I'll come back. You done me right." He bought 5 cows last year, and I went and picked one up. I can't control those cows. If she slipped a calf, one had a dead calf, that's out of my control. That's all act of God. I'm going to do what I can to stand behind them. People will remember that. They'll remember that before they remember anything else. And so, as we move forward and continue, I think the popularity of the red Angus breed is growing. For a long time, people didn't really understand that red Angus and black Angus came from the same place at the same time. Black Angus was just preferred over the red Angus. And so, Red Angus Association of America was not chartered until 1954. So in terms of a breed association, it's a young breed in the scheme of things. And so we've come a long way. There's about 110,000 active cows in the registry, in the registry database. That pales in comparison to over 300,000 in the Angus database. But we would be scratching number 2 right there with Hereford in that 110,000 active cow inventory. But the demand is there. People like them. The quality, easy fleshing, easy tempered. There's just the heat tolerance is one of the things that really, I didn't want to go to the Brahmin influence, the Bos Indicus, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I wanted to have more of a British type cow, moderate frame, lots of capacity, things that can get out here and survive and thrive on sorry bahia grass and Bermuda grass, and lots of water. And it pales in comparison when you go out west and every bite of that little bunch grass and that native grass is like a mouthful of corn or soybean meal. And we're sitting here having to deal with our forages, but it's, some of you may have fescue. We don't have any fescue in this country. You've got to get slammed up to Montgomery to get into the fescue belt. And then from there north, you'll have fescue the whole way. But those are some of the things that we like to key in on, that we feel are important. And I see more and more people calling, asking about Red Angus females, and then there's a phrase that's the most favored female, Red Angus. You'll have folks that'll have a whole herd of Red Angus influenced cows for that reason, and they may put another bull of their choice, another breed or a composite breed, and that's one key attribute that the Red Angus do. I don't know of one breed that they don't cross well with. You can just start naming breeds, and I guarantee you, if you put a Red Angus female in any of those, you'll be satisfied. You know, y'all were over at Blackwater, so that. Are they running any registered Angus, or are they doing all commercial? But you know, at one point in time, they were one of the premier Angus breeders in the country, and had some really, really good cattle. They've got pedigrees and a lot of herds all over the world. But you know, you can make. We got some friends in Florida. They got red Angus, and those and F1s. They're taking red Brahmins and crossing them with the Red Angus and doing some composites, and those are some outstanding cattle. I mean, that hybrid vigor is real, that heterosis is real, and you can believe that. But you know, so as we continue to move forward, right now we're utilizing about every square inch of grass that I've got fenced around. We do some rotational grazing. I've taken advantage of some equip programs, cross fences, water lines, watering troughs, the big tires and stuff like that. As time and as we get approved for those type things, you know, we utilize those through NRCS. You know, cover crops are a big part of what we do. Ryegrass, triticale, oats. Kind of gotten away from the rye part of it. But, you know, always growing a summer annual, a winter annual, and then working with these perennial grasses that we have, and try to do as much as we can with grass, and not having to do a lot of supplemental feeding. And it seems like we're always feeding something, because we're always either weaning or backgrounding or preconditioning, developing heifers. We'll hopefully see some bred heifers that'll be in our sale, commercial bred heifers. Most of them are home raised. There's registered ones in the group. There's also some that I have bought from some other people, but they're all primarily straight Red Angus. You'll see some down there that would be, some people call them like a Star 5, so they're kind of like a Santa Gertrudis, Red Angus, Hereford Cross, and they're very noticeable. They're pretty. They're really nice. And I bought them at like 550 pound open heifer, just kind of a deal to have some color, you know, something different, and so hopefully they'll cooperate and come up in the feed troughs here after a while. But you know, as we move around, we'll go see the bulls next. If y'all see something, if you have questions, feel free to ask me, pull me over to the side. Just again, my family appreciates y'all coming, taking the time to be here, putting us on your agenda as one of your stops as you travel through southeast Alabama. We had a college group come through here back in the summer, and did a little bit different format, but they, you know, you just never know what to expect, how people are going to react, what they're going to say, what they're going to do. But that college age, you know, they're all in. I had 50 new friends on Facebook, you know. But I mean, you know, so they've all got parents, they've got grandparents. Some of them may be in the cattle business, some of them may not be. But they may wind up being in the cattle business or managing a big ranch or something, and they'll remember being here. And I mean, you never know where it's going to go. So I said, never miss an opportunity. Young lady, young man, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and make them feel important. They're tagging along with granddad or grandma, mom, dad, aunt, uncle. Because you never know where those wheels are going to take them as they continue to move. Our industry's changing. We all realize it's changing. It's changing faster now than it's ever changed before. That's why we're emphasizing meat quality. People will always pay for good quality beef. I was in a convention one time, and it was Commissioner of Agriculture in Georgia. He said, beef is the protein of celebration. birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, special events. I know some of y'all are in the poultry business. But those kind of events, you want a piece of beef. You want a fillet, a ribeye, a porterhouse, a tomahawk. You don't want a flock of pork chop or chicken breast. You want beef. And so that always resonated in my mind. And you go to steakhouses anywhere, people talk about, you know, spending and backing off. You're going to Dothan, Alabama for just the middle of the week. That circle in Dothan, Alabama is chock full of restaurants. And I can go down there any week night and I'd have to fight for a parking spot. And it's like that everywhere I go. People are going out to eat. Good restaurants that do a good job, serve a good piece of meat, whether it's seafood or beef, but all the steakhouses, the local chain steakhouses, they're all full. The local steakhouses, they're all full. And nobody wants to go in there and eat a piece of select beef. They don't want to sit there and have to chew it 3 times before they swallow it. They want a good piece of beef. So that's why we focus on the marbling, on the ribeye, but we're also staying true to our cause because it's all about fertility, longevity, mothering ability, and that's another attribute to those Red Angus cattle. They're fertile, they're excellent mothers, and we can kind of have our cake and eat it too. If we play with those matings, we're always saving heifers ourselves. We're always going to sell females to other cattlemen. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put a piece of JYJ beef on my table. That's what I'm going to eat. That's what I'm going to sell my neighbors, my friends, my relatives, and anybody that wants good beef just off the street. So those are the things that we try to focus on, and doing it in a sustainable manner. I mean, that's a buzzword, sustainability. We're the original stewards of the land. We are the sustainable ones. We're still in business. If you've been in business more than a few years in farming and ranching, you're sustainable. I mean, we're taking care of everything because it takes care of us and our families. And so, you know, we feel that that's of great importance. And so we're not going to do anything to jeopardize, to give ourselves a bad name or a black eye to the public. We already have that. We're already fighting that. Y'all know that across animal ag and crop ag and agronomy, because they think we're killing the world. Fertilizers, insecticides, and spraying, and everything that we're feeding the cows, and everything we're doing, it's all bad. They want to put us all out of business, and I've been very involved and very active in my local farm bureau, state farm bureau. I've served 9 years on our beef committee with Alpha, and then on the Red Angus side and other various organizations. And I just hope they're ready for a fight, because I think we're going to stand our ground, and we're not going to be bullied, and we're not going to take what they're dishing out. And we've done more to be advocates, to tell our story. That's what we didn't do for a long time. Y'all have heard this. It's probably sound like a broken record. But we shouldn't be ashamed of what we're doing. We need to get out and talk about it, tell our story, because it's important. When the same people get on RFD TV and say the same thing over and over again, folks don't have a tendency to believe it. But if we, grassroots, we talk about it, we tell our story to the local public, they'll believe it coming from us, because we got dirt and manure on our hands and grease on our boots, and we're out in it every day. And I think moving forward, that's going to be even more critical. If we want to stay in business for subsequent generations, kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, keep the land and keep everything intact, moving forward.